Hello, welcome back to this tutorial on how to make a sock. I have gotten to the point where I have 3 rows or a little bit more below the heel hole. I just wanted to talk about something that I do with my socks. I want to make a right sock and left sock with this, like the start at the top on the inside of my ankles. And so that means you need to have the heel on different sides of the foot for the 2 different socks. So instead of, like in the other sock that I showed you last time, getting to this place here where I have 3 grey lines and starting the heel here, I went round halfway and so found the halfway point on the other side. So like folded the sock like here, found the halfway point here, followed that down, found the halfway point, and made the heel on that side instead. So that means that I have socks, like a right sock and a left sock, and that will become more relevant when we get to the toes. But yeah, that's just a trick. If you want to make right and left socks, with the start in towards the ankles or on the outside, that is the way to do it. Yeah, so let's make a heel. The plan is to just make this one take. So it might be a little bit boring, but hang in there. So the first thing I do is fold the sock, find the midpoint, and pick one of these stitches to start with. So I'm going to pick this stitch. Then I hold the work a bit like as if I was already working in it. And then I pull the thread through, leave a little bit hanging. This needs to be enough that you can fasten it at the end. And then go through the same loop again. Make sure not to catch this hanging thread. And as we do when we work this needs to go under the working thread. And we have a thumb loop. Now, I'm going to go through this one more time. So we get 2 loops. And it needs to go under the working thread. No, under. I was already there. Now we have 2 working loops. We can take this loop off and work it as an Oslo stitch in the next one. So I'm picking up 2 loops from the edge and doing an Oslo stitch. So since this loop is now pretty big, I'm going to pull the end thread here to make it pretty small. Not tiny, but like pretty small. And then go through. So now we have enough threads here. So new stitch, and now we can do the marmon with the tiny Oslo loop. And from here, we just go. So bonus Kuroi content. No, that's Bodil. They're so similar. Nalbinding and cats. What more could you want? Really? This is the life. So here I need to pay attention because when you get to the edge here, you don't want to go in this loop. This is the last loop you want to go into. These two, this one and this one, will just create a hole. And I'm going to show you the trick I have to not get a hole on the side of my heel. So we have these two, and I like to go underneath here all the way to the inside of the sock and then up through here. So you have 2 threads on one side and 3 on the other. You could also go through here. I think that would be perfectly fine. I'm just going to do this. And then you treat this as your edge loop. So you need to be careful about tension in this thing. So like keep the tension tight and treat it like a normal stitch. So going through and tensioning. And then in the next one, we avoid these, like this loop that goes into this area. And we choose the next one. This is one case where we just want one loop, one edge loop. And use the previous one without letting that one slack. And continue. Not letting anything slack. And we can have a look at this in a few stitches. But we need to just keep a hold of the work and keep going to get this like heel thing to stick, so to speak. I think we're safe now. So what we now did was we created this cross here. I don't quite understand the mechanics of why it becomes like crossed like this, but it does, and that prevents it becoming a hole. And these will, when you like stretch the fabric and stuff, these holes won't be big, is my experience at least. So this is how you end up, like this is the turn that I use to avoid big holes. Then we just keep going again. The edge loops on like the foot bit of the heel may be a bit weird. Oh, I just saw that I started my heel not the way I usually do. So usually I start my heel on the foot bit. So I started here in the middle and I started it in the back bit. I hope that won't give me any issues. I don't think it will. But yeah, I'm sorry. I recommend that you start here, so in the middle of the foot bit. So like, okay, that's hilarious. So yeah, I'm 100% an authority on this. Well, enjoy my mistakes. I can't be bothered to fix them. This is just how this sock is going to be now, I suppose. Yeah. But what I was going to say is that the edge loops, the grey, like the loops I'm using as an edge here, is actually the bottom of the stitch. And so they behave like slightly different and feel slightly different. And so are slightly different to pick up. It's not a huge difference, but if you're sort of very tuned into the feel of things, they will feel different. So again, if you're just coming into this part 2, this is a tutorial where I assume that you know the stitch, which is the mum stitch. And I will link the tutorial for that stitch down below, as well as part 1 of this sock tutorial. But yeah, if you're only here for a heel, then congrats, you made it. I still find it hilarious that I managed to start differently than I usually do. I've made so many socks and I've always started on the foot, and then I'm going to show it off and I don't. So I do have a different beginner heel tutorial that I will probably also link, where I actually started on the right place. So yeah, you might want to look at that if you're confused. But yeah, so here we have arrived at the other corner, and we need to do the same thing again. Go under here and up again here. So like here's 3 threads, and here's, I think, yeah, well, we're going here. And then just keep the tension, so you can, it looks very far, it does, but this is the previous stitch you used, this is the stitch we do not want to use, and we need to go under this cross. So I can feel my needle all the way through the fabric here. So that's where we want to be. And now we do the stitch as if we weren't far away. So we just, keeping in frame, do the stitch, hold on, really like be sure to keep the tension here, then keep on keeping the tension through this one where we only want one stitch. Keep the tension and go through with it, and another where we keep the tension. Let's see. Yep. Keep the tension, keep the tension. And now we're basically sort of kind of scot-free and around the bend for that one. So again, we end up with this sort of cross that goes under this, like the middle bit of the seam, I guess, and that covers up what we would otherwise be quite a big hole that we would get here, like in the seam. And we just continue on. So for the first round, that's really all you need to think about, is those corners. And we're basically, the way I do heels, I focus on the corners of the heel. So I know that heels don't have corners, but when you make socks, they do. So we have a corner and a corner. So I focus around these because essentially you want to fill out this like you want to connect the leg part to the foot part in like a quarter circle, and so you can't end up with edges like this at the bottom. So this is where we need to remove stitches, like in the corners. But I'll show you all of that during this video, because you're staying here with me until I'm finished. No, I'm sorry, that sounded like a threat. And we need more thread. Yep. Soon empty of thread. I still find this so comical that I managed to start in not my usual place. Okay, fantastic. I have some more thread. Let me just measure it out. So I use twice my arm span. Oh, sorry. Twice my arm span plus a little. So now I've made twice my arm span, then a little bit more. That way my yarn is already folded, ready to thread my needle. And so I just thread, like this is where I folded to get 2 arm spans. I put that through my needle and it's all ready to go. I just need to splice. This is going to be a long video. Well, I guess I'll try to put some timestamps in so you could skip around. This heel will likely be, I think, 4 or 5 rounds. And so I'll just put some timestamps in for those rounds so you can refer back to this. I don't expect anyone to actually sit through the entirety of this video because it's slightly boring. I don't know. I mean, if you're hooked on Nalbinding like I am currently, it might be riveting content. Let's see, where's my bottle? Here's my bottle. I'm soon running out. Oh, shaky cam. Sorry. Okay, and we're ready to continue. So we've now completed round 1. Now comes more interesting bits, I guess. So for round 2, I'm just starting with 2 loops for the first stitch because we put 2 loops in that stitch. So let's see, like this. Yep. And then, oh, I hit the camera. I am such a good YouTuber. Wow. Okay. Let's untangle this. Like so, I suppose, and then refasten this. I didn't do a good job with the splicing. Well, at least you can see in this tutorial that I am not infallible. Well, think we concluded with that in the very beginning. So if you're expecting perfection, you won't find it here. This is very much reality, and I'm fumbling. Let's see. Can we make this good again? More shaky cam. Okay. Let's try some more. Yeah, I think we're good now. I don't know what this is doing. Well, figure it out one way or another. So in this second round, we want to decrease the number of stitches in these corners, and I'm going to decrease so in 4 rounds. So these two need to go together, and these two need to go together. And so we'll do normal stitches, and then the same on the other side. So we'll do normal stitches until this stitch. And yeah, you just need to pay attention, I guess. Count a little bit, at least. Yeah. So the thing is, I've already made the heel for the other sock in this pair, and so I know how many times I need to decrease. But I usually use a few tricks. I try it on, and I see, like, is my foot bending this more open than 90 degrees or less open than 90 degrees? And if it's more open, I need fewer stitches decreased. And if it's less, I need more stitches decreased, because this is a very sharp angle. So I'm slightly, when I tried this on, I'm slightly on the smaller than 90 degrees, and that's the reason I'm starting with 4 decreased stitches. So yeah, it's knot binding is all about trying it on, and heel making is, well, at least, yeah, it's a game of how much can you decrease and it's still okay. So you need to decrease usually faster than you think, like with more decreasing stitches than you think. So 1 decreasing stitch, 2 decreasing stitches, we've got there now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So these two together. And then these two together. And then you need to do this 4 times total. So these two together. And these two together. So I usually try to keep the decreasing sort of even around the corner, but if I must choose one way or the other or anything like that, I usually choose to decrease more on the leg side, because you can see there's more stitches along here and fewer stitches along here. But usually I try to keep it centered, but you can see it's not really centered this time. So it's like this, and this, and yeah, it doesn't feel completely centered, but yeah, approximately, and it should work. So we're done with the decreasing stitches. Now we just need to do some normal stitches until we get to the other side, and can do our 4 decreasing stitches again. Oh. Yeah, it's all going well. Nothing, no hiccups here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're nearly at the other side now, ready to do decreasing stitches. So let's see, 1, 2 decreasing stitches, 1, 2. So I need to do 1 more normal. And then we do 4 decreasing stitches. Two. Oh. 3. There's a lot of thread management in Nalbinding, and I've made like quite a good system for it, but yeah. So it's very useful when you're making socks like this to be able to read your work. So what I do is I just I pull slightly on the line that like the row that I'm working on, so I can see the connection. So this is a 1 connection, and this is 2, and 2, and 2, and now we do the last one. Now we're over on normal nail binding again. So I'm working pretty quickly, a bit to like make this video a little short, but also just because this is my normal speed. And I guess don't worry if you can't like see what I'm doing. Just take this as an example of how fast one can become, and I think you can become faster because I've not like made this my whole thing to be really fast. But yeah, when you've done, I don't know how many stitches now, many stitches, you become quite fast and things just happen just automatically. And sometimes I even have like several different ways to do certain bits of the stitch, and that's just how it goes. So for the next round, we're now finished with the second round. You can see I've just crossed over into the third round. 1, 2, 3. For the next one, we want to do 6 reduction stitches. So this is the corner. Let's see. Yeah, let's use this as the corner. So that's 1 reduction stitch that puts these 2 together, another puts these 2 together, and another again puts these 2 together. So that's 3 reduction stitches on this side, and then we'll get 3 on the other side. So I need to do 1, 2, 3 more normal stitches. And this like checking thing is not something I just do for the tutorial. This is how I actually check how many is left. I put my needle through them so I can more easily see the number of loops. So let's check again. 1, 2, 3. So we're here. Now we need to decrease. 1 decrease stitch, 2 decrease stitch is 3 let's see, 1, 2, 4 decrease stitches. Oh, sorry if I keep getting out of frame. 5 decreasing stitches and 6. And now I'll usually go over and check that it's actually 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a normal one. So we have 6. And then now we need to be quite careful because we don't have many stitches, or at least I don't have many stitches until we next need to reduce the number. So the reason I'm doing this in all like one shot is, I guess, one, to figure out how long I spend making a heel, but also because some people get confused when I cut the video, and I don't want people to get confused. So yeah, okay, we're now like over on the other side, and we need to count again. So this is the corner. We have 1, 2, that's one connection, one decrease stitch, 2 decrease stitches, and 3 decrease stitches. 1, 2, 3. And so we need to do 1 and 2 normal stitches before we start decreasing. 1 and 2. And we're running out of thread again. Not completely, but we are running out. Because that's the thing that gets used. It makes sense. So now we're on to decreasing. So 2 together. 1 time. 2 times. 3 times. 4 times. And 5 times. And 6 times. So now we can count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 reduction stitches. Now we don't have much space left. Like, we just have this hole. It's quite small. So here's a perfect time to try this on and see how far we need before the edge of our heel. So I have my feet here. Let's see. Can you see? Yeah, I guess you can see. So I'm trying to be more flexible than I actually am. So here you can see the edge of like the side here doesn't quite reach down to the flat of my heel. So I need another row, which is about like 1 centimeter thick. So another row will do it, and we'll end up being able to just decrease all the way. So this line should be undecreased because we need to get all the way down to the edge of my heel. So let's get back to that. I'm sorry if that was a bit too awkward, but things you do for YouTube, I guess. So this would be where the edge of my heel is. After this, we can decrease a bunch. So I would say we need to get about here, and then we can decrease more. About like, let's see. It's difficult to find the corner after a while because it's not much of a corner anymore. Like, this is just a slope now. But let's see, 2, 4, 6. Like, the next number would be to do 8 decreases, which takes us all the way to the edge here. So I want to get a little bit in, more to like the 6 decreases. So let's do at least 3 more. This is where I would try it on again. So let's try it on again and see if you can see anything. I don't know. So here you can see that the extra line has actually gotten us to the edge of our foot. We're past where I started, and all we have left, let's see, is this hole. And this hole is over a pretty flat heel. And so we can start decreasing every stitch until we finish up this hole. So I think that's what we're going to do for the rest of the heel. And I don't know if I don't think this will be enough thread, but we shall see. Now, every time, do what you said. Just talking to myself. Yep. As if that's not what I've been doing for I don't know, how long is this video? 40 minutes. Oh, sorry. I keep getting out of the range. But yeah, I'm just decreasing every stitch. It does require bending the work a little bit and adjusting it. But yeah, every stitch should do. Let's see. So now we're just basically trying to fill in this hole and sort of in a way that will make it flat over here. So yeah, we need more thread. I don't think we need as much thread as we did last time. So let me just, I don't know. Something like, oh, sorry, again with the shaky camera. And, oh, and then, where did my needle go? There's my needle. This is one of the good things about having 2-ply, is that I can easily open it up with my needle, open it up further with my fingers, and it'll be good. Good enough, I guess. This is 100% wool yarn, so it does felt, but as you saw, it's possible to rip apart the joins before they're actually anchored into the fabric. So try to be careful, I guess, right around a join. Shaky cam. I usually go until it looks like one thread. There's no bits sticking out. Yeah. And needle. Getting lost. Let's see. Now I really hope this is enough thread, because adding more thread at this point is kind of stupid. But not stupid, but then it feels like I'm underestimated and I'm losing at yarn chicken, I guess. So again, decreasing every stitch. Oh, it just started raining outside. That's so cozy. Inside, warm and with crafts, and it's raining outside. That's just perfect. We're still just decreasing every stitch, so putting 2 stitches together every stitch we do. The hole is getting quite small. Let's see. But it's not small enough for my taste yet. I usually go until my loose threads completely cover the hole, which it doesn't yet. It still leaves this little gap, so a couple more stitches should do it. I'm sorry if the focus is all over the place. My phone is trying its best. So now I'll just like pull my thumb out of the hole, and you can see it sort of covers it. This is where I would stop. And so what I do to stop is just like, this is the most recent loop, that's the least or like next recent loop, and then the third one I will pull to sort of tighten it a little, then pull the second one to tighten that, and then pull the last one to tighten that. Oh, sorry, did you see that? So yeah, I pull up the top, that tightens each stitch, and then you can sort of finally just tighten the last one and pull it. Now you have this little hole, and what I then want to do is like close up this hole. So I put my needle through each edge loop, and since my needle isn't bent, I just go as far as I can. So I have like half the stitches on here, then through that, and it's already almost closed up. And then I turn it around and put my needle through the edge loops on the other side. The last ones will be difficult because you've tightened them. So just like do as well as you can. So that's the other side. Push my needle through that, like so, and you have a heel. So this is your heel. Now you can try it on to see if that worked. So let's do that. And it is indeed a heel. And it covers quite well. It's not too tight. All in all, I'm happy. So what you want to be aware of is making this part too tight if you make the heel too small. But I don't have, like, I've seldom had that problem. If you make the heel too big, it will sort of come out here and be in the way when you're wearing shoes. So this is sort of a good middle ground as far as I am concerned. And now you can continue the foot until you get to the toes, where you'll need to decrease again, and I'll show you that in part 3. For now, I usually thread this thread. I have quite a lot of thread left here. I thread that through the end and rip it off, so I have enough to connect it. So I just thread that through the middle of the hole that we closed up. So, and I can just get it on the other, like from the foot side. So just pull it through and then leave like, I don't know, 10 to 15 centimeters, just like a little thread. Leave it on the inside and I can continue on. I do the same thing with this start thread that did something weird here. I think I'm actually going to do this. Yeah, that feels flatter. It did something weird on me. And so I just like thread this thread onto my needle and I pull that through on the other side of this stitch and just let it go. So now you have a heel. I make quite small heels, but that's because my feet are small. But yeah, you do have a heel and it should wear quite well. So I've mostly made socks for myself, but what I try to aim to do is to leave this rosette at the bottom of your heel, like where you thread, like where you walk, because if this is on the edge, it can get worn much quicker. So if you're putting your foot on the rosette every time, it will get flattened and be solid. There's much more thread here, so it sort of reinforces it. And that's really helped me get like socks that last a little bit longer. So that's why we tried this sock on to make sure that we got past the edge of my heel, because then the rosette will be under my heel. So yeah, these are my socks so far. For the next video, I'll show you how I do toes. Keep in mind, I do toes for me. So I don't know if you can see, let's see. My feet have a very long big toe and a very small little toe. And so I make socks that slope to give room for the big toe and less room for the little toe. So they're more fitted to my foot. So what I'll show you in the next video is how I make that toe. I'll go over that again. But if you have more like equal length on your toes, like slightly more than me, you might not want that. And so you can, it's really a sort of, yeah, it's all a game of trying it on. Like the heel is about trying it on, the toes are about trying it on, the start is about trying it on, like everything is about trying it on. So try on your socks. Don't just do what I did. Like don't follow my exact pattern for a heel and expect it to fit you, because it might not. Like this fits me and works for me, but not everyone. So just keep that in mind. This is how I do heels, and yeah, it might not be how you do heels when you have the experience. I hope this has been useful and not too boring. I know there were like blank spaces of me just Nalbinding and not saying anything. Yeah, I guess let me know how you like this style of tutorial. I probably won't see it before I film the tutorial for the toe making, but let me know for the future. And if you have any questions, leave them below. And I will see you next time. Bye!